to start. Good afternoon, everybody. Again, you probably heard me on the first speech that I gave like 1 hour back. Welcome to our eminent panelists here. So here we are going to discuss something, sir, which is related to what I talked about, right? With, as I said, we found us as a vision of making education affordable in the country in whatever way possible. So we'll touch upon that. But the context here is ideally, we will talk not only about what we are doing as a company, because that will become a little bit biased. So we'll also talk about a little bit that how other digital things can actually affect education and actually they can make affordable. I would like to take also, probably it's a heads up, you can think it through probably at the end of the panel. I want to use your brain and probably take some ideas from here we can implement in future. Right, in our own company, probably benefiting all the student community and the institutions later, right? So just have that thoughts going on your brain. So coming to, I have noted down the questions for sure. So I'll start with sir first. I don't remember all your names, so I'll just direct you to the questions with my hand. So the first questions we are starting with you, sir, is how can digital transformation create smarter, more flexible tuition and fee payment systems? What are the ways you can think that we can do?
Very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Jeet. Thank you, Tanya, for wonderful invitation to meet amazing panel. So many of friends we could reconnect with. The digital transformation is inevitable in higher education. It is slowly coming into education as a mainstream. Primarily, digital transformation needs, we call this as a 3P approach. First, revolves around people, then the process, then comes the platform. The toughest challenge here is to move the first two pieces on people and process. Then if those things are aligned, then platform comes into place. And by and large, many institutions, I'm not only mentioning about in India, but across the globe, have started testing the digital transformation in bits and pieces. It's all about acceleration. And adoption towards technology in higher education institutions are far more growing better, what we've seen over several decades. It has been continuously growing, and slowly it's going to have a deeper impact in days to come in the way we transit our learning and teaching and learning process inside the classroom. That's going to have a deeper impact on. People are moving towards much more comfortable, affordable, and the area of sustenance as well. One of the key area which I want to always touch upon is, if you see the recent implementation phase of NEP is very actively on the roll, the sustenance of financing in higher education institution is also going to be come into a deeper question. Earlier, we call this LTV, which we call the lifetime value of a student in a campus, depends on the close duration of the campus, which is around 3 year, 4 year, 5 year based on the program. With NEP coming in, there is going to be multiple entry, multiple exit. There are going to be opportunity of financing of higher education institution are going to be deeply effective and impactful in this process as well. There have been various way the institution need to make sure the mainstream financing is not affected through the whole process, number one. And number two, there are a lot of students, many of the students come into ecosystem through their educational loan. There need to be much more information on how the exit and entry happens through educational loan. This has to be briefly come into. Currently, it's slightly a gray area. People don't know about it. That's also going to have a deeper impact. But before that, we need to have a larger canvas on how this adoption is going to happen in detail as well. Apart from that, if you see that, one of the strong area I would recommend for the students and education institution is, when we look at the core and essential skills which need to be developed for the transformation of a student to make him a better citizen of the society, we teach them all the skills. But apart from that, we also teach them on the areas like entrepreneurship, certain areas, but we also need to infuse the personal finances, which is going to be very critical as well. The way you need to manage the finance. If you need to broadly understand the number of people who play actively even in the share space or a mutual fund space, less than 5 crore people actually operate in this space. So we need more people to have an evolved learning of managing the personal finances has to come in. And particularly the technology can play a very active role here in terms of using access to finance in the area. For example, there are various scholarships available, various studentships available, and those things are not easily any student can identify it. Based on the skill set mapping, if there is a technology intervention, they can access to those finances as well. So the avenues of technology in higher education are going to be imperative, and we are going to adopt in a very fast and very soon basis as well. That is the core crux, and how we manage the whole ecosystem, I think we need to all collectively come together, evolve, and sooner the better we are going to get into the place. Thank you.
Sure, fantastic insights. So that will lead to my next questions ideally. So since you were talking about management and adopting it, I'm glad as a owner of a private company that institutions are pretty open to basically adopt it at a larger scale. So the next question to you will be, sir, like when we're talking about managing finances, right, or anything related to finance, whether it is talked about fee financing, loans, but beyond that also you have accounting, right? You are doing an event, you are managing finance. You are I was traveling across the country for last 4 years, almost 10 different states. What I found really interesting is, in my time, there was not a lot of scholarship money that was coming from government. Right now they have. So Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, all these states, even Tamil Nadu kind of states, they're getting it, right? So scholarship management is also, I think, is one of the very complex financial management for an institution. Because there are bureaucracy involved, there are collectors involved, there are government involved. The student can withdraw the money anytime they want to, even if the government is giving the money in the bank account, right? So my question is, this is a complex question, considering this complex financial management of institution across general fee financing, scholarship money and all those, how you think that technology can be used, or what do you expect from technology vendors or partners to help you out to manage this complex situation?
All right. Thank you so much. And I think Sir has made a two relevant, very important points here. One is about the changing dynamics as far as the NEP is concerned, where the multiple entry exits. It's not a plain vanilla program that I get into the program after 4 years or after 2 years or after 3 years, I will exit. It's a very simple calculation which we used to have with the bankers earlier. Since our group is into school education also, we are trying to inculcate the habit of financial literacy and digital literacy from the early age. So that there is an orientation. And I'm sorry to say, but I find in my own institutions, even the teachers or the parents, the awareness about many things, particularly about digital or about finances, is very, very poor. Sometimes somebody would say that the husband is handling the entire, or so we have outsourced this work to somebody's, the consultant, but they have not really put their brain into it because of the lack of understanding. Technology, of course, is going to play a very important role, and one of the initial mover, I think we have signed up last year just to experiment that how this entire world of finances or the fee structure can be given a more flexibility to the students or to the parents, both in higher education as well as the school education. And in spite of the first phase, because we thought that this is a good idea, and we probably thought that we will absorb the cost of the interest, and yet the parents or the students should feel that this is like an interest-free kind of a thing, which is for 4 years or whatever the duration of this they are spending with us. The response has not been very, very encouraging, in spite of the fact that there is no interest. I think because sometimes when you sign a MOU, when you sign a document, they feel that, there's a money will automatically will be debited from their account, and while they will come and request us in case if there is any challenge, they'll come and request us that, please give us 15 days more time. But with third party, with technology, and the fear that, the money probably would be misutilized by, or the data would be misutilized by the third parties, probably has not been, we have not got a very great response. Out of, I think, 4,000 students I have in school, and only fraction of the students or parents have opted this program. So I think going forward, it's just a process. Technology is here to stay, but how secure, one, is the platform. The second thing is, awareness about the financial product is something which I personally feel is very, very important. Till the time we crack these codes, there will be always a if and buts, and therefore we are finding, as an experimentation, as I said, that last year, this year, hardly any parent. Year one, still I could see that some percentage is coming, but this year parents are very happy that we'll pay quarterly, half-yearly, whatever the schedule is there, but they have not come forward as of now to take this third-party thing. CBSE or IB or Cambridge, we operate with boards, have made it compulsorily, I think, 4 or 5 years back, that all the transactions should be digital, should not be cash or any other thing. So things are moving, not at the pace one would want to expect. And I think from my point of view, if you ask me, I'm very, very open for such ideas, simply because it takes away a lot of pressure from the account and the finance department. The money start flowing in, and you get the entire money in the first quarter itself of the entire year, and then how to manage those finances. But I think it's somewhere the acceptance level maybe the awareness is not there. Maybe people like the Leo one probably can create an awareness, how this entire thing works, because I saw a lot of banks create those awareness, the knowledge series, that this is how it is going to impact, and then you read and then you get some ideas. So yes, it's a journey, it's a process, and I think we are on the right track. Slowly, gradually, the acceptance level would be much higher, and I also hope that in my own institutions, maybe the awareness level will be created a little more than it was.
Sure, sir. Great insights. I think you have touched upon, right. So you have touched upon the points like security is one, you have made a point, which is very, very valid, because that is what we also see in terms of our deployment into different universities. And then you talked about the awareness. So since, my viewpoint before I go to the next question is basically, since this product is a little bit new, this kind of product, not only us, some people might come up with later also, many companies might do it, but I think awareness will take time, because this is a new category altogether. But I like the word you said that, because that was my question, that if technology can be used to take basically the load from your accountants and finance department, and it can be automated, then why not? It might take 3-4 years or probably a little bit more, but I think we are moving towards that, right? So continuing that, my next question would be to you, sir, just on the continuation part of it, right? For example, sir has talked about basically the awareness and the security, right? And I talked about 3-4 years, right? If I have to ask you a question, after 10 years, assuming that these things works, an ideal institution with a financial company partner like us or anybody else, or a bank, even if a bank, how do you want to envision an institution and a financial institution relationship? And where do you think, so that's the first question. Second question is, how do you think that beyond academics, students can get benefit? So it's a little bit visionary question. So I just want to take your brain and understand.
Hello. Yeah, sure. I would like to speak in simple words. I'm basically a doctor and now changed to a Pro VC. See, I'm representing local university. I'd like to say two entities, about the Indian culture. The students or the kids feel that it's the duty of their parents to fund it completely and make them a graduate. That is the culture that is still existing even now, even though we talk about India has gone such beyond. Still, This is the tradition which is still happening here in India. And they feel that it is a duty of the parent, and they are never involved in that process. So coming back next, when it comes to even when I was graduated in 1990s, we didn't have any like what you call even a mobile or something, any messages or something. When a fee has been told, it's a biggest burden to our parents. Because suddenly, one of the time we reach a message, at the time they were writing in inland letters to the family mentioning that this is your fee, you have to pay that before the exams. So suddenly it's something like getting a shock, because we have not planned accordingly, because there was no someone to guide us properly. I'm talking about even 90s. But even now the same thing is happening, because even in my university also, if you check, there are nearly around 3,000 intake per year minimum. So if you calculate like with the 3 years or 4 years, more than 10,000 students. And every month when we calculate, there are like 3 to 4 crores dues to collect the fees. So one side, it's a burden for the parents to how to pay this. And on the other side, we the university thinks how to collect this. So these are the both two things which is happening on other side. We don't have a proper mechanism how to collect the money, and the parents doesn't have a proper mechanism how to pay this money also. Students are never involved. According to them, it's the parents' duty that they have to pay the money. Because what my suggestion is, the students should be completely involved in this process. It's not like once you qualified, then you attend a campus interview, then you start earning. This is not the process. While studying itself, they should be completely involved, and they should understand how to manage this finance burden. I used to use the word burden itself because even in India, you know, because India is a big market with 1,000 plus universities and 40,000 plus what you call colleges. It's the biggest market. I can use the word market itself. We don't have a proper mechanism even right now. So the students should be completely involved in finance management. So hope you know, because it's actually the universities can make it in another way. How we know now what happens after the completion of the courses, we have campus interview, they start placement. What about in a reverse direction? Because the universities knows the complete what you call plus and minus of their students and the loyalty programs, and starting from the first year onwards, if the students are made to completely involve and start earning from the companies, which they are going to be sponsored by that companies in future with a bonding system. So I hope, you asked me after 10 years or something, not even 10 years before that, I'm sure this will happen. It's not an assumption, I'm guaranteed for that. And that's all, thank you, sir.
Interesting insights and the validation at the end, saying that it will happen quite before 10 years. But I agree with you. I agree with you. It's basically the speed at which, and out of whatever you said entirely, the one key takeaway for me, ideally, where you said that student has to be involved in the process, right? And I don't want to like stress on this as a biased view, but we are actually trying to do that. So if you look at the product that we are trying to build, the student is involved from day one, and we want to touch base them throughout the year, more than the parent. Parent is there only for once or twice in a year, just clicking the money, sending it to the student. Rest, our product touches students only. That's what our vision always has been. Anyway, now coming to sir, you continuing this, provided that it is happening right with before 10 years, and let's say India is moving in that direction. My question would be, like the way we are doing, right? I don't know whether it's a biased question or not. Like we do incentivize people for paying fee on time, right? And that incentivization brings a lot of involvement of the students, the problem that you are stating. And our product has proven that in some of the universities. Like I'll give you an example just before raising the question. Like in an university, assume in the fee due date is something like August 1st, let's say, right? 30% collection was happening. Few students will intentionally drag it for another 3-4 months, because they will say, "Theek hai, abhi nahi de." They will not give now, will give it after 3-4 months. So incentivization, when we say that you are getting this much back, rewards and all those, you immediately see a shift in collection. The money that was about to come in 3 months after because of intention, wrong intention, that intention has been saved, right? So my question to sir, you would be, so for example, companies like us or any other companies creating product like this, other than the incentivization, what we are doing, do you think any other pointers that we should bring and make aware the students so that institutions' collections are getting better, fee collections?
Good afternoon, everyone. So, in India, more than 90% higher education institutions are private. So their source of income is only through the fees. So they're not getting any direct or indirect support from the government, though we are sharing a largest burden of training students, skilling students in higher education. Now, as for the financial model is concerned, we don't have any technology which is available at which you people may decide and find out. We have n number of problems also, solutions also. For example, in higher education, students are coming in different semesters, and as of now, every student of each semester is supposed to pay the equal amount of fee, which is not the case. For example, student can opt for the number of credits earning in that particular semester. So maybe in one particular semester, student is opting only 20 semesters, so he or she should be charged for 20 credits only. Whereas the other student who has opted only 10 credits in that semester may be charged accordingly. So there is a flexibility in the paying system also, which is not available right now in any financial model. Number two, there may be some courses or the areas where the external may contribute, maybe from industry, maybe from alumni. They can also contribute in the fee for those particular courses. I can give you an example. Recently, my university is now 27 years old. Recently, last week only, we had one student who graduated in 2004. So he returned back and he said he wished to contribute to the students of the university. Now he has given us $20,000 US for a particular group only. He said, I am interested that a particular design lab to be dedicated in my family name and that amount to be used in that category. So now what we can decide, the money which you have received, that can be given to the student in terms of reducing the fee. Because earlier, the management was supposed to spend that amount of money to create the lab. Now we can reduce the fee. But these options are not available in any financial or any tool which you are providing. Similarly, fee can also be linked with the performance index. A student who has done wonderful in the previous semester, his or her fees can be reduced in the next semester or some scholarship should be given. So if it's something is part of my financial tool, which is there, if your performance index is up beyond a certain level, by default your fees will be reduced by this percentage. So that kind of AI or that kind of technical tools are required which can govern, which can control the fee, and student can design. We say in our university, design your own degree, because certain number of credits are which are core courses and certain are elective courses. So you can design your own degree and you can earn your degree at your own pace. Need not to complete the 4-year degree in 4-year time. You can complete 3.5 years also. You can complete 4.5 years, depending on the finance which are available, and you have to pay according to the number of credits earning in that particular semester. So the number of things which we can do if you people sit closely with the higher education institutions and then devise a solution which is not available as of now.
This is great. I think all the sentences that you have said, probably they looked like to me as solutions of the question that I was asking to you. It's a fantastic insight, especially the credits and all those you talked about. We are doing, I think, one piece out of that, but rest 2 pointers I'm taking it with me to build it as a feature, because that's what I was looking at from this panel output as my takeaway also. But I have a fantastic thing that you talked about alumni, right? Because the alumni thing, the one that we are doing, I have already told it in my speech, that we are trying to create a money inflow channel for the institution, irrespective of how much of money it is coming, right? As long as you are have a channel, your institution corpus can be grown. As simple as that, right? So continuing on that piece, sir, because you already run a big university also, right? So my question, because we asked the questions for the current students, my question to you would be on the people who are passed out, right? Okay. Now, considering the alumni that you have, right? One things are told, one is money inflow, right? You open up a channel where the alumni can give the money. They can directly fund a student scholarships also, right? Or they can create a corpus where you can use it for anything, lab creation or scholarship program. Other than that, right? Because you have a large alumni base, what are the other things that you think alumni can contribute financially?
Thank you so much for giving the opportunity. Of course, many things are being covered. Just to add on what he suggested for, the another can be the way the alumni can support. There is a entrepreneurship, creation of the startups, creating the people who can create the job instead of seeking the job. That's a important part in the education system which is lacking behind, because we are lacking behind in terms of the curricula, where we can create and have the courses related to decision thinking, design thinking, creativity thinking. I was just hearing to the Coursera people also, he was also talking about these kind of courses. So these kind of courses, if we embed from the very beginning of the semester, then of course we can create the people who can have their own ideas. They can share their own ideas, and after having the ideation and then creation of some kind of prototypes. On those prototypes, we can always take the help from the alumni. Just coming to the question, alumni who can support in giving kind of amount, or it can be the seed money or venture capital or something like that. We can have the kind of sharing system also. In our university, number of people are coming forward, and the students are also approaching to our organizations also, our management also. If they can give some kind of funding to their projects, and we are supporting them. This is one. Then another part, there are some other people who are not able to afford the fee. In that case also, we are also approaching to the alumni, and they are also giving some kind of goodies also in terms of giving the laptops, books, and in some of the cases we saw at the time of the corona, many of the people who could not afford the fee, it was supported by our own students also, our own faculties also, apart from the alumni who support all of them. In total, if you look at the support for the education system, can be shared with number of people, and it can be linked to the skills also. It can be termed as a like 50% abhi pay kar do, 50% you pay once you get your degree and get a job. Out of that, the salary you are getting from the job, you have some percentage of sharing for the funding agencies. So this is where we can support the people who can not afford the education and can get the support from the alumni also. Thank you.
Yeah, I think great answer, great answer. I think you repeated one answer, but I think the second one is really, really great. I think when we talked about the last one you talked about, that was actually one of my ideas I was thinking 2 years back to build it. So I'll just quickly tell, we were not able to do it. So we were thinking like a university where we don't take any fee from anybody, right? So we take corporate funding or a alumni funding. Let's say create a corpus of 50 crore or 100 crore, build a university and create a batch, right? And this fund takes care of their entire, let's say BTech 4 years of education, and as sir said, and when they basically pass out and get a job, they give the money back, probably 1.5 times or 2 times of the money that has been spent on them, so that the corpus gets increased and you increase the number of size of the students. And it was all started by alumni. That was the idea we didn't execute, but I think that's what you were talking about, right? You said 50-50, I was thinking of entirely 100% fee. Yeah, correct. So great discussion. I think we have lunch time, so very few people left. So any questions, I'll open it up, but I don't think there are a lot of people to ask questions. But personally, these are fantastic inputs. I think 2-3 inputs were great. some of the features, as Sir said, I will see that if we can bring those features in. But it was great having the discussion with you. Thank you very much.